Welcome to Manufacturing the Workforce of Tomorrow, a new minicast brought to you by SME. I'm your host, Toni Neary, Director of Community Engagement and Workforce Innovation. In this minicast, we're going to dive deep into workforce development, exploring challenges, opportunities, and solutions that are shaping the future of manufacturing. Each month, I'll bring you insightful interviews with key industry leaders, sharing success stories, highlighting significant events, and providing valuable resources to help you stay ahead of the curve. Whether you're a seasoned manufacturing professional or just starting your journey, Manufacturing the Workforce of Tomorrow is your go-to source for the latest news and trends in workforce development. So join me every month as we work together to build a stronger, more resilient manufacturing workforce. Let's get started. All right, I am so excited for today's guest. I've had the opportunity to work with Allison's team over the last several years, and Tallo is doing, I will say, groundbreaking work in early talent pipeline development. SME and Tallo have been partnered for 2 student-facing events, the IMTS Student Summit with over 14,000 students coming through our SmartForce Student Summit at IMTS, but also at Skills USA, which is like the Olympics of the skilled trades. A dedicated team, amazing innovation. Allison, thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
And can you share just a little bit of your journey? Because you've been looking at bridging the skills gap for quite some time, and you've had this journey that's kind of ducked and weaved through different roles. But will you just talk a little bit about your background with us?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I think that's one of the things that we always want to get across to young people is I'm not the only person who has this duck and weave career pathway, right? Many of us have done that. And so, I went to community college. I was focused on a path in art and psychology. And I get to paint in my free time now, which is amazing, but certainly not the full-time career I pursued. I spent 10 years in corporate America. I managed large teams, more than 3,000 people. I was hiring more than 1,000 people a year. So I kind of get the pain on the side of recruitment. And then I moved into work focused on connecting young people to career possibilities. And I worked at the College Board, which is a large nonprofit, where we serve more than 15 million people a year with the career products that we were developing in the space. And I learned a lot. And the thing that I really felt was missing in the space was this real connection to employers. There's a lot of tools and platforms out there that connect people to educational opportunities. And that is critical in the process. But it's not the determination of whether you get the job. And if we don't bring employers closer to early talent, we're not actually going to bridge the gap. And so the opportunity to come to Tallo, which was just over a year and a half ago, was really attractive because that's the work that we're doing here. We're bridging this gap digitally between employers and early talent. We're helping people across the early talent development journey so they can go from their passion in art, or even the other thing that I thought I would do at one point was to be a professional bowler, and then connect that to the world of work in a way that they didn't even think was possible. There's no world in which I thought this was going to be my job at this point in my life.
And it's funny because I think so many of us end up parked. I started in pharmacy before they politely asked me to leave the program as a college major. And I never had aspirations of being a professional bowler. However, I thought I would work in a small boutique ad agency. I was getting a marketing degree. And it's interesting because I definitely used facets of my marketing degree, but manufacturing was not on my radar. And my college roommate was in college for HR professional in manufacturing, and it still was not on my radar, which opens up the conversation of why Tallo is so attractive to us, is you have this huge database of individuals that have said, I'm interested in a STEM career. And then you put manufacturing out there and that number shrinks way down. They're not seeing the connection between STEM, Industry 4.0, advanced manufacturing, and what careers in manufacturing and engineering look like. Can you tell us a little bit about how you're building this bank of students that are not just connected in Tallo, but staying engaged in Tallo? Because that's also really important.
Absolutely. And that's a big part of our philosophy here is that we know we actually can't serve up the right opportunities if the young people aren't engaged in the platform. And it is why we're building the way that we are. And so we've got more than 2 million registered users. We just surpassed 200,000 monthly active users. So those people are coming in, they're coming back to the platform, and we're seeing them being really responsive to activities that help them understand themselves. When we lead with who they are before what they do, they get pulled in. They want to know more. more about what their interests actually connect to. They want to know more about the opportunities. And we make sure we've got current opportunities on the platform because we have a partnership with Lightcast. And they scrape real life job postings and real information and their skills taxonomy, career pathways, career opportunities, then populate into Tallo and get updated regularly. So young people can see who are they and what do they like? And then ultimately, what are the careers happening now that they actually can pursue? And in the same platform, they can find educational opportunities and they can even apply to the job. And this is just the beginning of this conversation. We then have other places where we connect people through digital community tools so they can have a conversation with peers about their interests. We're seeing people who engage with these interest-based groups are more than 60% likely to come back within 30 days. They want to talk to other people about things like music, and they want to do it in a safe environment. And then, it's a place where we can say, hey, your interest in music actually might mean that you're a creator and you could go into the semiconductor space. And there's a lot of really interesting opportunities that you didn't even know were out there or that you've thought of as a certain way. So the platform does a lot of that heavy lifting for us. We do a lot of development on that. And then outside of that, I think where our partnership has been really exciting is we've been able to bring some of the tools that we're developing in person to young people. So at IMTS, for example, we had the opportunity for young people to come up and they got to spin the wheel. They got to win prizes. We had more than 1,000 students interested enough to sign up on the spot for a Tallo account because that was something that they were looking for. They really want this digital career co-pilot with them throughout their journey.
Well, and I think it's so funny because I have kids that are right at this age now. And my 15-year-old son is like, maybe I want to do this. Maybe I want to do this. And my 14-year-old daughter is like, this is my path. This is where I'm going. And this is what I want to do. I love the fact that your tools work for both of those ranges. How can we support you exploring careers, finding scholarships for what you know you want to do, and really open up those opportunities for students? One of my favorite things that we've done together is I was asked to do a presentation on STEM careers in advanced manufacturing. And I did a profile based on, if you're empathetic, you should look at a design career and here's some different options. But I also love the fact that when you are looking at employers, it's not just this is our job listing, this is our pay scale, these are our benefits. You're actually having them share about their culture. And that for me is the differentiator because students are looking for a place that can feel like home or can feel like they're part of a solution. Can you talk a little bit about coaching for some of the companies that you're working with? Like, okay, it's not about the widgets, it's about the impact of the widgets. Or let's talk about the fact that you do this as an organization because we think that would be attractive for this early talent pipeline.
Yeah, I think we're finding that Gen Z has a completely different view of what success is and what they're looking for in work. That's why starting with the individual is so important for us here because they've kind of rejected the path that I've taken, maybe the path that you've taken, Toni, where we're, going through corporate America, we're working 80 hours a week at some points, really trying to move ahead. They don't see that as success today. They see success looking very different. They want work to work for their lives. They want to be in a place where they feel like they can contribute, where their contributions are valued, where they have a level of balance, where they can be themselves. And it's really, truly different than generations prior. And so Tallo really works to bridge that gap between what is, some of these companies have been around for more than 100 years and have been speaking about the organization and the work in a certain way. That may not translate to young people. Being able to say, just as you said, what's the organizational culture here? What are the benefits? What's it like to be here for a day? That's the kind of information that young people are actually looking for, and they want real talk. And the number one place they're going for career information is TikTok, which should be concerning for everybody on this call because we don't know that that information is trusted, right? We don't know that they're telling the truth, but we know that young people are looking for this authentic representation of work. And we think there's a way to directly engage employers to share the message about what it's like to be there. There's so many good jobs that people have no idea even exist. And the work is changing every single day. There is a way to bridge that gap more effectively than other people are able to do. And it's about speaking the language that Gen Z is interested in.
And I love that because her son is always like, well, I saw it on TikTok. I heard it on TikTok. Oh, a song will come on that's like for my generation. I'm an Xer. And a song will come on and be like, oh, yeah, I know this song from TikTok. I'm like, stop saying that. The song was not created on TikTok. So I affectionately call it the ticking and the talking in my house. Well, there's no ticking and the talking. You can't give me recipes from TikTok. The only thing you can send me are golden retriever videos, which my daughter does a really good job of. But I think you're right because they are consuming information and it's so fast, right? These are
Yes.
15, 20 seconds. They're taking their impression and they're moving with it. And it's really intriguing that you can kind of find a way to connect with them in that format as well, because it is a whole different can of worms. But this is what our parents said about us, right? Is like
Yes.
every generation is different and
Yes.
they're evolving. Their adaptation to technology is so fast.
Yes.
And it was fascinating. We were just at the FabTech trade show and we were laughing. We were at the SME booth, which people kept thinking was the information booth, which was great. We were talking to people all day. Anybody in the group that had an individual with them under the age of 30 had downloaded the app, which gave step-by-step directions and a directory of everything they needed. They did not stop by and talk to us. The only people that stopped by and talked to us did not have individuals under the age of 30. So it's funny because these kids that are using the app or these young professionals that are using the app know exactly what they want. They know exactly where they're going. They know exactly what information they're consuming. They don't want to be distracted.
No, and I think that's really encouraging as we think about the next generation because the workforce is moving very quickly, right? Especially with advancements in things like AI, we're seeing jobs change literally overnight. And so the fact that young people can adapt to technology, they're interested in using technology like that, should give us a lot of hope for the future, right? This kind of view of work is different and success is different doesn't have to be something that we try to manage against. It really is an opportunity to, I think, create a workforce that's actually ready for the future.
And I have to give a plug before we wrap up today about your micro internship. So you had Kennedy at Skills USA, and she was contagious. Tell us a little bit about micro internships and why you think this can be a great solution for companies to really connect with the future workforce.
One of the things we hear as a big challenge is that young people need experience to get experience. And there really is just not enough opportunities for them to get into the workforce and learn really foundational things like communication, even how to show up on time. And so giving them opportunities to do work in real life scenarios is so important to get them ready. And so a micro internship was an opportunity for us at a conference to have somebody who was young person looking for experience in this world, exposure to it, come in and actually work at Tallo for the day at the conference. She helped us do some preparation. She helped us do some review of it, but it was a short-term engagement. It was real work that we needed done. It was a paid opportunity. But for us, we got, as you said, contagious help, something that really represented our brand. But also this person walked away knowing more about the world of work and what it actually looks like. And so we think these are relatively easy things that organizations should be thinking about. Where is it that I have a short-term project that I actually could engage somebody with? Where can I give somebody exposure, give them experience? And we're happy to partner with folks on designing what that looks like. But these opportunities are going to matter. When we say, as I think probably anybody who's hired somebody has said before, like, why doesn't this person know what it's like to be a good employee? These really basic things, who's teaching them? We have to, right?
Mm-hmm.
We as employers owe it to the next generation to give them real work opportunities. And this is a way to do it that's easy, lightweight, and value add for, I think, employers, certainly was for us, and for the people that we're looking to develop for the next generation.
And I mean, I think she was like 16. Her parents were dropping her off and picking her up every day. She was going out and getting students to come into our booth. I mean, I can tell you we engaged with probably 50% more future workforce because Kennedy was there. Like, hey, have you rolled the wheel? Have you rolled the dice? Have you spun the wheel? Do you know what you want to do? Here, create a profile. And she was absolutely spectacular. So I have to give props to Tallo for even coming up with the idea to do that. But connect with Tallo and find ways to workforce. So what's next? Knowing you guys are constantly innovating, you're on the cutting edge, you've got micro internships, you're growing your footprint. I know you've got statewide agreements. What's next for Tallo?
We're really doubling down on building tools that young people actually want to use. We're releasing more and more community connection features. We think that the recruitment system as it stands today is essentially broken. It has been on the verge of breaking for quite some time, but the AI technology, I think, has officially broken it. Now you can get into an AI resume developer, get on that application, make sure it's optimized, and on the other side, you're being screened by AI tools. And so there isn't a way to connect with somebody for real. And so people are reaching outside of their network to try to find people to hire. And that is worrisome for us because there's a whole world of young people who actually have no idea the opportunity exists, aren't in somebody's network, and really could be a good future employee. And so we want to build technology in a way that actually connects people to people, not just platform to platform conversation, actual humans on one side and the other. And so the community is a big focus for us. We've got partnerships with schools and other organizations where young people are coming in and they're having professionals come on and have conversations with them. We have a Real Careers, Real Journey series that we're expanding with different school partnerships, and we're having actual people come and talk, near peers, come and talk to young people in school about what it's like to do that job. I think for us, we're really just observing what is happening out there. What is it that people like? What do they need? How can Tallo be a platform that's with them through this process? Because we believe if we build something that's that foundationally engaging and connects with people, helps them see their potential, their opportunities, who they are, that when that opportunity comes up, we're much more well positioned to serve it to them. And that's what we're really focused on.
Absolutely amazing. I cannot thank you for your time. I cannot thank you for your continued partnership. I have to give shout outs to Hannah, Amy, and Megan on your team because they have been chef's kiss to work with, and just keep innovating. I'm excited to see what we'll be able to do together in the future to really bring this manufacturing workforce to the table and allowing them to have real conversations and experiences with real employers.
That's great. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Toni.
That's a wrap for this episode of Manufacturing the Workforce of Tomorrow. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform to stay updated on all the latest trends and happenings in workforce development. Don't forget to visit our website at sme.org for more resources and information. Until next time, let's continue to build a stronger, more resilient manufacturing workforce together.